Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Grandpa.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Joel.
I'm Matt. And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. To start off our day, we're checking on our cole crops. Now, these cole crops over here aren't just any cole crops, but these are actually our last planting for the year. We've got cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, kohlrabi. We've got red cabbage, Savoy cabbage. We've even got some Chinese cabbage thrown about in here. We can see that these plants have plenty of roots, and they're actually starting to get root bound, so we're gonna need to get these in the soil sooner rather than later. For now, the plants can stay in these trays, but they won't be able to for much longer. We've also got some plants that are here for sale. Now, where we live in Northeast Pennsylvania, you can still do a little bit of planting, but time is starting to run out. So in the near future, we're gonna be putting this stuff out in the field. Not yet, but in the near future. In our last video, we were working on baling straw and putting it up into the barn. This is one of the last wagons that we filled. We brought it to the farm market. That way we can sell it right off the wagon. When people see that you have straw, they're more likely to buy it. So we always like to have a wagon up near the farm market. That way it gets people thinking about straw. Now, I did get started on filming a little bit later today. The boys have been working all morning. I've been working on editing. But now we're heading into the farm market to get some lunch. Ooh, it looks like we're having ham sandwiches and watermelon for lunch. That looks pretty good to me. So what have you guys been working on today?
We were pulling weeds and picking pickles, and the filter for the drip irrigation system exploded, so we have to fix that today.
And before that, we grinded 2 loads of feed for the cows and then took care of all the animals.
So this is our problem. Oh, I got water everywhere. All right, we'll just turn it. This is where our problem was. There was a small crack that we had sealed over before. I think the pressure just was too much and it blew the pipe completely out. And the big problem is this unit is one whole piece. You have to buy it as one whole piece. You can't just get this part. So Matthew is gonna be making a 2.5 hour drive this afternoon. That's one way, 2.5 hour drive one way to pick up the part for that. Well, we're not 100% sure if Matt is going today because it's like a 5-hour round trip and we might have other jobs to do. So for the afternoon, we have a little bit of picking to do. Daniel is gonna be running the rake. We still have some straw that is on the ground. We weren't able to get it all baled up before the rain. And Joel is gonna be hooking to the disc. He has some ground he needs to work up so we can plant beans. Yeah, it's that time again. We need to plant our green beans, yellow beans, and flat beans. We need to make sure we keep that rotation going. So what are we up to now?
We're going to pick beans.
Ooh, I forgot to mention exciting news. Over there where we had the peas, we plowed up that ground and Joel is going to disc that ground because that's where the beans are going. I forgot to mention exactly where the beans were going, but yeah, we're all done with the peas for the year. Now some of you may be thinking, Andrew, why do you hate picking peas so much, but you don't mind picking beans by hand? Well, the thing is, we have a machine that picks our beans for us later on in the year. But peas, we don't have a machine that does that. So although, yes, I'm not happy about harvesting beans by hand, it's only for a short while. Well, the stand wasn't what broke, it was the housing itself.
You have it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of blossoms coming here. I'm trying to be careful with the plant. There's a lot of, we can come through and harvest this with the picker later on.
That's my thought.
Because these smaller ones will be ripe by then. Now, as all of you know, we've been pretty dry on the farm, and that affects crops differently. For example, these beans, it has really slowed down our later plantings. These early plantings that we got into the soil, they seem to be doing fine, but our next plantings, they don't look as nice. It's just they're not growing as fast as these beans did. When you have a lack of moisture, that can really disrupt the growing process. But these beans look really, really nice. But they got plenty of water in their developmental stages, which is super important for vegetables. Look at that, it was all off one plant. Beautiful. And if you ever want to tell how fresh beans are, this is a little trick we use. It's stuck right to them. That's a fresh bean. Not only do these beans look good, they stick good, and oh yeah, they taste good too. A funny question I get is that when I eat the vegetables, do I add noise? Do I add that crunch sound? And I definitely do not. That's just the noise they make when they're really fresh. Why are there green beans in here with the flat beans? We got our Italian flat beans harvested. We're gonna put these on the truck and then get started on yellow beans. Now we're planning on picking 1 basket of yellow beans, green beans, and we picked 1 basket of the flat beans. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's not a lot of beans. And you would be correct, but we're only picking enough beans for today. Beans are one of those crops that can lose their freshness really quickly back at the farm market. So we're picking beans every day. That's why we're only getting a basket of each. We're trying to keep everything as fresh as possible for the customers, because happy customers means we get more business, and that's what we want. Now with yellow beans, you do have to pick a little bit slower than the other beans, because not only do they need to have a nice size, but they also need to all be turned to that nice yellow color. So you have to pick a little bit slower, and you have to pick a little bit more carefully. And this is where using a machine for yellow beans can be difficult, because the machine will come through and take every bean off the plant, and sometimes they're not all ripened together. So hand picking early on is really beneficial, especially for these yellow beans, because you can make sure that you're only getting the nice yellow colored beans. We've got our basket of beautiful flat beans, and then we got our basket of yellow beans, and now we're moving on to green beans.
Andrew, observe the potato field. Can you imagine if we had beans and potatoes for supper?
Now getting plenty of moisture is very important when it comes to a crop like beans, but we have to be careful because too much moisture can lead to our beans rusting. The beans will get these rust colored spots all over them, and they taste okay, but they definitely don't look okay.
Andy, do they rust because they're high in iron?
Now a big way this rust can happen is if you harvest your beans while they're wet. So we try and make sure that our beans are nice and dry when harvesting, which hasn't been a problem as of late. Hopefully we can get some rain, but right now for these beans, it's okay that it's not raining. Now an interesting fact for all of you, when you go to an auction and the beans say hand picked on them, they will actually get a higher price than beans that were picked by a machine, because it is believed that beans that were picked by hands are much cleaner and they're not broken as often. Although I think the newer machines do a really good job, it's kind of easy to see why you could get a higher price for picking all these beans by hand. And I think the people just deserve it anyway. If you're picking beans by hand, you should get a higher price. But beans picked by hand usually will bring a higher price than beans picked by a machine, because 1, they look nicer, and 2, they're cleaner.
Put them on the bottom side there so they don't fall over.
I think we're sitting on the back.
You riding up front?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll sit.
Yeah, just sit there. All right, everyone, these are the beans that we got. These should finish off the day back at the farm market. From what we can see, they look amazing.
We gotta go.
And they taste good too. So now that we're done with the beans, we're gonna take them back to the farm, get them unloaded and into the cooler. We got all the beans put into the cooler. We got everything filled up. Now we're heading back out to the field. We need to pick some zucchini, and then we also need to get some parsley. We are now out in the field. Dad and Matthew are taking care of something quickly, and while they're taking that, I am working on harvesting yellow squash. Yellow squash is definitely one of those plants that if I was raising at home, I'd be using long sleeves to pick them, because these plants, they can cut you up pretty good. Since the yellow squash produces so much, we don't put too many plants into the soil, but off of the few plants we do have, we definitely got a lot of nice yellow squash. Now there is a lot of nice zucchini coming here. Some of it is on the smaller side, which is to be expected. We haven't had rain, and the filter for our irrigation system broke. But what is here looks really, really nice. We just need some extra water for the rest of this stuff to continue growing and getting future nice crops that look like this. If you remember in one of the previous videos where we were trying to get all that straw in before the rain, and not only did we get some rain, but we also got some intense winds. And if you look down through this row, you can see our dill used to stand straight up, but the wind pushed some of it over, which is okay, that happens. At the other end of the field, it seems to be standing straighter, but this got really hit by that wind. Now, if I could give you some advice for harvesting zucchini at home, it would be to make sure you harvest your zucchini using a knife. By slicing the stems off cleanly, it makes sure that your zucchini will stay fresher for longer, because when you're harvesting the zucchini by just twisting it off, there's a chance that you could break the stem off, and that doesn't help to keep it fresh. Here be. So while we're harvesting zucchini, I want to show you something. Zucchini makes it really easy to tell the difference between a male and a female flower. Over here, you can see where the zucchini is growing. We have our flower on the end. This would be a female flower. Now this flower right here that has nothing behind it and is just one long stem, this is a male flower. Right here's another male flower. Here's a male flower, male, male. And then down here would be a female flower. You can see there's a zucchini, female flower, zucchini, female. And then right here is a younger female flower with a zucchini on it. I know we've talked about that plenty of times, but I just think it's really cool. And if there's any younger ones who watch the videos, it's really important to know that. For example, we actually pick the male flowers and we'll sell them. People like to eat them. So we need to know the difference, and it's important to know the difference so that you don't knock off any of those female flowers when they're producing the vegetables. We are now all finished with harvesting zucchini. While we were finishing up the zucchini, Matthew was getting some parsley, some curly and some flat leaf. Raising things like parsley is very important because when people know you have parsley, they'll come to get parsley, but they'll also pick up other things while they're there. As much grief as I give the pea crop, we had a good year with it. And what's nice about peas is that they're already over, and we can come back through with something else. We're gonna put green beans, yellow beans, and flat beans. Hopefully 2 plantings right in this section. Hey Mom, have we been busy today?
Yes, we have. And look at the beautiful bouquet that your dad gave me.
I picked that.
Look at the beautiful bouquet my son gave me then.
So it has been busy here. You have been selling the vegetables we've been harvesting?
Of course, I'm not throwing them away.
What's the drama? Tell me what the drama is right now.
Daniel got frozen Go-Gurts and I was looking at it, so he gave me one, and there's not enough for everybody.
You must be the favorite. All of us don't get any Go-Gurt.
It was really good.
Yeah, we didn't get any.
We are all done with closing up the farm market, so we're heading up to the house. We got Grammy out here working in her flower garden. Get rid of those weeds, Grammy.
I hate weeds.
Oh, hello. Baby, what are you doing? What are we having for dinner tonight?
Ravioli and salad.
Woohoo! That's not what happened, Dad. Ooh. You just have to what?
I just have to cool Callie's ravioli down and then it's
Okay. Callie and I are gonna go for a little ride around the yard.
okay.
It's not gonna be too long. Now, I just thought I'd mention this before we end the video. The deer are still hitting our red beets. We're still thankful it's deer. Oh, that was scary. Sorry if I freaked anybody out. But the deer are still taking red beets. We've taken some measures. It's helped out a little bit, but we're still having trouble. It's time to eat. It's time to eat. It's time to eat. But anyway, this is where we're going to be ending the video today. I would like to thank everyone for watching, and we hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, you did it! You did it, yep.